Just days before the attack on Manchester Arena, a young man called Salman Abedi flew into the UK from Libya. He walked past security, apparently unnoticed. But he's not here for a holiday or to see relatives. He's here to kill. Abedi was born in the Fallowfield area of Manchester in 1994, a son to Libyan parents who'd fled the Gaddafi regime. Later he would attend Didsbury Mosque, where his father would call Friday prayer and where his sister worked. On Monday night he made his way to Manchester Arena along with 21,000 other people who were attending a pop concert. On his back was a bag containing a bomb, which he would detonate at just after 10:30. But Salman Abedi did not act on his own. This didn't come out of the blue. We can now reveal that Abedi forged close connections with other young men who'd been radicalised here in South Manchester. Some of those young men have since gone on to fight with the Islamic State. They were part of a significant terror cell right in the heart of this city. Why were young men turning to jihad? A remarkable leak of information was about to tell us.
Our top story, the secrets of Islamic State and its members revealed.
Never been a leak from an active terror organisation on a scale even remotely like this.
Tens of thousands of documents containing names, addresses, telephone numbers and family contacts of Islamic State jihadis were handed to Sky News. And for the first time we were able to see the inner workings of the most brutal terror group in the world. Back in Manchester, I wanted to find out why so many young men were leaving this city for Syria. File after file, we came across young men from Moss Side who joined the Islamic State. On the face of it, they weren't connected, except they all had one thing in common.
Looking through these files, there is one name that crops up time and time again, and that is the name Abu al-Kaka al-Brittani. His real name is Raphael Hosty, young, just 24, a graphic design student, a poet and a rapper. Then on the 9th of October 2013, he joined the Islamic State. Raphael Hosty is at the centre of the South Manchester terror cell. Our files show he was a major recruiter for Islamic State and enlisted former RAF gunner Stephen Gray, electrical engineer Raymond Matimba, the former Guantanamo Bay detainee Ronald Fiddler, who killed himself in a suicide bomb attack in Mosul. They were all from the streets of South. Counter-terrorism sources have told Sky News that Salman Abedi not only had connections to Hosty, but that they believe Hosty may have radicalised him.
Raymond Matimba was a smart, polite man according to his friends, an electrical engineer who worked at a local firm. Then one day, he quit his job. He started to hang around at this market in Manchester, and there was a reason for that.
We know that they used the bustle of this market as a recruitment area, setting up a temporary stall, giving out leaflets about the war in Syria and Iraq. What they were looking for was people who were interested in this kind of thing, and if they found them, they would be drawn in.
They remember in one of the barber shops on the Moss Side estate. They're asking themselves the question no one seems to know the answer to, and that's why he left.
It was cool, quiet guy. He went to college. He was just like a normal kid. When I met him, he was about 16, 17. And then I didn't see him for a bit, and then he was a Muslim. And then the next time I seen him, it was in the paper. You know what I mean? And that was that. You know, I've not heard anything, or, you know.
So when you stop and think about someone leaving Moss Side to go to fight for Syria, how do you get your head around that?
I can't. I can't. You know what I mean? Just take it as face value. I can't comprehend it.
What we do know is that Raymond Matimba died fighting for the Islamic State.
it's always been a very diverse area, often with new communities joining people from all different sort of cultures. Particularly in the early 1980s, right the way through, there was a huge problem with the gun and gang culture.
15-year-old Jesse James was shot dead last Saturday in the Moss Side area of Manchester.
A lot of people sadly got shot, some murdered, until particularly a group of mothers decided enough was enough.
It was a time where people were getting sadly caught in crossfires. It was a time where, you know, young people were sadly settling their scores by using deadly weapons, i.e. guns. And it was a time where, unfortunately, we had to bury too many young people.
The whole context, including the context here in Manchester, the IRA threat, including the Manchester bomb, and suddenly terrorism was coming from abroad, and the whole threat was coming from abroad and from events, you know, in other countries. And I think it took quite a while for the whole system to catch up with that.
But as the community of Moss Side started to move on from guns and gangs, another threat was just around the corner.
The British suicide bomber Islamic State says a man brought back to the UK after being detained at Guantanamo Bay has blown himself up.
In February, details of Britain's latest IS fighter emerged. Jamal al-Harith was an Islamic State suicide bomber. His real name was Ronald Fiddler. He was born and raised in Moss Side. We have his registration documents, and he was recruited by Raphael Hosty. With so few answers, I wanted to speak to the family at the heart of this story. Raphael Hosty's parents haven't seen or heard from him for several years now. I wanted to ask them what they knew about their son, the Islamic State fighter. This is the first time they've ever spoken.
He was very good, nothing. You know, he's normally, you know what I mean? He practiced and nothing, you know. He go to university, you know. That's it.
He became one of the biggest recruiters for the Islamic State.
No, I don't believe that.
In Britain, he did.
No, I don't believe that.
I've got the files to show it. Do you want me to show you them?
No, thank you, but I don't believe that.
This is a document that we obtained from the Islamic State, which shows Raphael's name. It shows that he's British. It shows his address. This is your address.
Yes.
It shows that he was a graphic designer, and it lists his mother's name. Correct?
Yeah.
It shows that he wanted to become an infiltrator. And it shows that he left and joined the Islamic State in 2013. We have documents which show that he was the recruiter for many more men around here. It's the proof.
Maybe it's wrong, maybe it's wrong, maybe you're right.
Do you think? You think it's wrong?
No, I don't know. Yes, I'm not sure, but maybe you're wrong, you know.
We know because in the broad range of documents, they all tally up. And Raphael's name, time and time again, pops up as the recommender, the recruiter.
He may have risen through the ranks, but it didn't end well for Raphael. His mother was told he died in a drone strike last year.
How did she react when she realised her son had died?
She upset, of course, you know. You know, when you lose, especially mom, you know, the mother's not okay. Thank you. See, nice to meet you again. Sorry about that. Thanks, gentlemen. See you again. Thank you. Take care.
They almost don't want to comprehend or understand what he did, that he became this big recruiter, and he was from here in a normal street in Manchester.
What was it about Moss Side that meant 7 young men would feel like that was the right path for them?
Well, I think if you look at the pattern, you know, we've seen in Manchester, in Birmingham, in parts of West Yorkshire, people who are open to that ideology. You play in young people who may feel a sense of alienation from the country that they're living in, and that's all right territory for ISIS to play in.
I think one of the things that we have to remember is that, you know, young people are very vulnerable, you know, and that's just all young people. And there are some people that prey on that vulnerability. We have to educate people as to, what is terrorism?
They're searching homes and making arrests in South Manchester now, an area with a checkered past, and it's once again in the spotlight. At first it seemed like Salman Abedi was on his own. Now there's another working theory.
I think it's very clear that this is a network that we are investigating, and as I've said, it continues at a pace. There's extensive investigations going on and activity taking place across Greater Manchester as we speak.
There are still lots of questions, some may never be answered. But one of the biggest counter-terrorism investigations Britain has ever seen is now underway, and no one really knows where it will lead.